I am so grateful to be here and presenting with my favorite client. She is, as a human being, and because of the work that she does as well. And we also have like a small world kind of situation where we found out after we started working together that her first husband was someone I actually lived with. Like we were living in the same house together. A quasi brother, really, to me growing up. So just one of those
small
world things. So Bethany Friedlander is the president and CEO of Newbridge Cleveland and the Central School of Practical Nursing. And again, that's in Cleveland, Ohio. And she is a trailblazer in workforce development and developed a trauma-informed system to help individuals entering healthcare careers and their employers by building resilience so they stay in their jobs and they earn more. A very unique workforce development model that she has pioneered. And one of the brightest people. Last night we were at dinner and I'm like, I wish I could have recorded the conversation because she has so many things that she'd like to do, and it's really for the betterment of mankind. It's not just because she wants to accomplish them or because she wants to leave a legacy for the sake of leaving a legacy. She truly wants to make an impact and change people's lives. And she does that every day. And she wants to do it in a bigger way. I'm Chris Rossica. I'm a writer. I've written 4 books, published 3. My latest is not yet published because I'm changing publishers. I am a public relations entrepreneur in public relations. I started a digital marketing agency. We do a lot in AI and AI search, the digital agency that is. But my whole passion is thought leadership and building thought leaderships for nonprofits. And it's something that I'm extremely well versed in because I've been doing it a long time, but it's really what fuels me. And I don't want to work with an organization that's not really mission driven or mission focused. Because again, it lights me up and gets me excited about the work that I do and that my team does. We're happy to be here with you and share with you, help navigate how AI and technology can help you advance your marketing and communications objectives, and really where it fits in ethically, what's possible in terms of positioning and messaging and brand positioning. And I know some of you in this room, including Scott here, really focus on utilizing AI tools to articulate messaging, target specific audiences, and automate the communications workflow, right? So we get that. Some of you are doing that. Raise your hand if you're a nonprofit organization, please. Okay.
Awesome.
That's great. So, the majority of this talk is going to be aimed at really you as a nonprofit. Certainly we're going to share with you some of the ways we've used AI. Before we start, I just wanted to share a quick story because we're here under the guise of technology and marketing and how those two things work together. And I had a phenomenal marketing experience yesterday when I arrived in Detroit. So this is my first time in Detroit. I've been in almost every other US city for conferences, doing speaking engagements with clients, etc. Have never been to Detroit. My one trip had been canceled during COVID. So yesterday I'm at the front desk and we're probably all staying at the same hotel, right? And I'm at the hotel and LaShawn at the DoubleTree, who was a phenomenal communicator and a phenomenal marketer, I asked her, I said, I need to get a suit jacket. I want to get a new shirt. Can you recommend a men's store? She said, well, there's an Icon here in Detroit It's been around forever, for as long as I can remember. And it's called Hot Sam's. I'm thinking hot bagels, maybe? I mean, Hot Sam's is the name of it. And she said, you have to go. It's amazing. I walk in the front door at Hot Sam's. It was about a 10-minute walk from the hotel. And I meet one of their customers. I start chatting with this young man. He's a phenomenal young man who is a young person who is just graduating from college and going into med school, taking his MCATs. And the owner of the store, Tony, came up to me and said, I saw you were talking to, his name was Cam. I saw you were talking to Cam. You know, I really liked the way you interacted with him. He said, there was something about it. And I said, well, I love Cam. The kid was great. I just love the kid. And he said, that's what it is. And that's what we share in common. And he was not only an amazing marketer, but just a tremendous human being. I just have to tell the story. So we end up at a cigar bar together 4 hours later. So I was in the store for 4 hours, not only in the store, but then with him at a cigar lounge afterward. And like, we know so much about each other, right? And what we hope to do is bring to you not only our experience, right, with AI, but also make connections with you and build relations with you so we can be of service to you in the future. Bethany runs a nonprofit, 2 of them, a school, the Central School of Practical Nursing, and Newbridge. She is here to be of service to you. I'm the same way. I want to help you, and if we can provide any additional information afterward, we're going to do that. So we have our cards up here, and we want you to reach out. We want you to connect with us because we don't want you to just meet us today and not build that relationship, just like I have with Tony now. I know he is welcome in my home, and I'm welcome in his. And he's done so much for the community. He mentors 200 kids a year. Very prominent entrepreneur in the community here in Detroit. So, you know, I feel like I have a lifelong friend, you know. So I just wanted to share that because that's the kind of presence we want to have with you, not just to make this presentation, but really to be here for you.
Couple housekeeping things. Number one, he's the extrovert. I'm the introvert. So I would not have had that same 4-hour conversation. Second, if you use AI, if you have an account for your nonprofit, go ahead and open it up because later on we're going to do some fun stuff and you'll have a good time and we can kind of share some experiences together. So if you have something that you use regularly, so it kind of knows you and kind of knows your organization, open it up.
Okay, so very quickly, we are going to talk about utilizing AI for content development, for positioning and messaging, for social media marketing, for your website, and we're going to show examples of how that works. We're also going to talk about ethics and also about how to really get the AI to know and understand you, right? So it can really capture your voice. It has to be authentic. And you can actually, and Bethany has some great examples of how she's really developed her AI relationship. I'll call it a relationship.
It is.
Yeah. To really capture her voice. And it's amazing when she puts in certain prompts, what it comes back with, because most organizations don't provide that kind of input to get the outputs they're looking for.
Okay, so why this, here, I'll tell you, which button am I pressing?
The one on the right there.
All right,
Yeah.
so why does this matter? So a little bit about Newbridge. So Newbridge opened 15 years ago in Cleveland. We've got an annual budget of about $2.5 million, so pretty small nonprofit. We have 15 staff members, so we're a really small team. Only one of those people is a full-time development person. So I know if you're involved in some of your grant writing, we get tired exhausted by the same grants, the same grant questions year over year. They never change their applications. You don't know what else to put into them. So this is a way to sort of help you get through that. It's also, when you have a marketing and PR firm that's helping you, they want you to produce all the time, and sometimes I'm completely blocked, and this is a way that you can get going. Doesn't mean you have to use what it produces, but seeing what it produces can be incredibly helpful. And also, you're messaging in multiple ways, right? You're getting ready for a meeting, so you're doing some live work, maybe a PowerPoint, but you're also working on your never-ending needs to do blogs and Twitter and LinkedIn, et cetera. So what is it? So for me, it's absolutely about brainstorming, organizing, summarizing, not necessarily about understanding Cleveland. So Cleveland is the second poorest large city in America. Detroit beat us out. We go back and forth. Anybody who's a Detroiter here? Right? So we're constantly beating each other at, yeah, see? You guys won this year, but we're coming back strong next year. And as you know, because there is an unbelievable amount of poverty in Detroit, there's a lot of trauma. And so what I don't expect it to necessarily understand is both my population, which is primarily African-American women. We teach exclusively in healthcare, so it doesn't going to surprise anybody here. Mostly women, mostly African-American women, mostly women who've been exposed to a lot of either personal or community-based trauma. It does repurpose for me. It does the research, and we can talk about the limitations in research later, but it's not going to tell real stories. It's not going to necessarily build trust with your funders. And by the way, if anybody has a question or a comment, just say it. I hate when people wait and, okay, so why does consistency matter? If you're not paying for your own account, then your AI is not learning you. If you guys are all sharing an account, stop it. Just take the money and make sure it's in your name. It's saving your searches. You can go back to your searches, but also it's getting to know you and only you, not just the organization, but you. So that means it's getting to know your voice, your important words, the way you talk about your organization. If you are sharing an account, just imagine two people being blended into one, and the messaging that's going to come out of that is not going to be as clear. So make sure it's your own account. Try to stick with one. I personally use ChatGPT. I'm sure there are tech people in this world. I'm old. I am not ready to learn another AI. I'm on the first one. I can't. So I'm not saying that's the best. I'm not recommending it. I'm not a salesperson. I'm just saying that's personally the one I use. And I would say, too, run things through your AI, even if you don't particularly think they need to be fixed or improved. So a lot of times I'll take an email I'm writing and run it through with just a simple prompt. Make this better. Make this shorter. One of the words that ChatGPT really understands, talk about generational, is punchy. Make it punchier. And it actually knows what that means. And it will make your messaging punchier. So I do that because it's getting to know me. So it can now, I would say, Chris, it can write 80% my voice, 85. I'm still going to edit. I'm still going to take those awful dashes out of it. Ugh. But it can write about 85% my voice. And I mean that to the extent that I had to write a condolence email the other day, and it wrote the condolence email, and I was like, wow, that's actually very emotional, and also what I feel. That, I was like, and better said than I would say myself in an awkward situation. So in that sense, I think it's been worth the work, and it's taken me about a year to truly train ChatGPT to understand who I am. Okay, handing it back.
All right. Just a quick story that I shared with someone yesterday about, so I've written, as I said, a few books that have been published. Two of my first two books need to be updated. I'm coming out with second editions of both of them. I need to update them, bring AI into both of them. One is about authenticity. One of the books is called The Authentic Brand. And another is about cause-related marketing, which is something that you all know about, partnering nonprofits with for-profits for mutual benefit. And so one of the chapters I rewrote manually. And the other one, I had someone who works for me, one of our interns, interview me. I gave them an outline for the interview, which took me about 10 minutes to produce, and put the rest of the book into ChatGPT. So it had my voice, perfectly, well, near perfect, and took the transcript from the interview that she conducted with me, and it produced a chapter. So I wrote one manually, and I used one with ChatGPT, and I saved about 10 and a half to 11 hours of time. And I'll tell you, the chapter that AI wrote was phenomenal, but it had all of this information. I didn't just give it a prompt without it, because it is garbage in, garbage out. So here are some ways that we are using, and I say we collectively are using AI. I just told you I used AI to write a chapter for a book. And by the way, I'm going to disclose that in the chapter because it's a chapter on AI, right, too. So number one is content ideation. Certainly with brainstorms, we're not suggesting that AI should replace people in the brainstorm or creative process. Absolutely not. However, it's kind of like the brain chain. Has anyone here heard of a brain chain before? No? Okay. One of the most powerful brainstorming tools I've ever participated in. Somebody brings up an idea that the group agrees is something worthy of exploring or going deeper into. They share their idea. The next person builds on it, makes it better. The next person builds on it or takes away from it, subtracts from it to make it better. And it goes through the group, and it's called a brain chain. So AI can do a lot of that work. It can make ideas better, more concise, if the prompts are accurate. So it can help you draft outlines. It can help you name programs. Bethany's going to talk about that some more. Even give you ideas for, public relations activities like press releases or media events. So, yeah, we prompted AI and we said we want a name for a program.
So we both did this. Each of us went through this.
Yep. We want to create a name for a program that helps students explore healthcare careers with empathy and compassion. So when we input it, my company, one of my companies, input this prompt. It's taking our experiences, our content, our voice, and it came up with these outputs. Empathy forward and human-centered, human first health careers, heart of healthcare, professional, credible, and fundable, pathways to purpose, healthcare careers, next-gen care leaders. There's a student-friendly and aspirational slogan or two, or output, careers that care, or this is the name of the program that I'm referencing, care beyond the clinic, and then values in action, and certainly the two they came up with, the Care Forward program and Healing Through Humanity, are
They're not
unique.
bad. They're not bad.
They're not bad. But now, as a workforce development leader in healthcare and a trauma-informed organization, Bethany's responses are quite different.
Yeah, so the Empathy Lab, I think that's good. They know that we because we're in healthcare, we talk a lot about combining humanity and science. So lab came up, which makes a lot of sense to me. The Care Discovery Lab. I like Healthcare Exploration Studio. Bridge to Care, pulling on our name, obviously. Still Point Care is interesting. So Still Point being that center, that regulation. So we talk a lot about emotional regulation at Newbridge, right? That moment of wise mind, that internal stillness, the compassion advantage. So I'm asking you guys, who got better names? I think I did too, right? They feel more human. They feel more emotional. They feel more connected. His are a little bit more generic. That's why I'm saying get your own account, because it gets to know you. I would have taken, now what I would do next is I would take my 3 favorites and I'd say make these better. Make these better is a great prompt. And then I might say, make these more serious or make these more fun, because none of these sound great for kids. If I'm in 9th grade, I'm not necessarily signing up for any of these. So I would then continue to refine. But I think I got better stuff to start with.
Yeah, and that's because her organization does what
Yep.
what Bethany's prompting AI to generate, which is a name for a program in healthcare workforce development. That's not what my organization does. We just really want to show you that it's all about building a relationship, with the platform that you're using and providing with ample information so it really gets to know your voice, right? The next is audience targeting, and we do positioning and messaging for clients. Scott does something similar in the marketing agency that he owns, and we regularly take our messaging and create primary, secondary, and tertiary messaging for different stakeholder groups. And then we, of course, give proof points to bring it to life. And we really want it to resonate and be something that people remember. We've used and have begun using AI to start generating ideas for messaging. When we went through the process for Newbridge, we hadn't really incorporated AI into our process, but now we're using it a lot more for this purpose. Certainly, it can analyze and summarize large bodies of material. Like we took interview, and we have an example here that we did for the American Accounting Association recently. It's a nonprofit organization based in Florida, and we said, okay, all these interviews that we did for positioning and messaging, all these interviews fed in the transcripts and said, please summarize them for us. And here it is. Can you please analyze the attached transcripts and develop messaging points for each of the following stakeholder groups? We gave them students, educators, researchers, practitioners, partners, because they have a lot of partners like the Big Four, and other sponsors. And we just are demonstrating one right here, which is students. Well, it gave us, for that stakeholder group, students, because these are students studying to be CPAs and to do other careers in accounting. They may become a professor or what have you. It provided this summary for us. I would say that we used approximately 80% of the output from AI in our final messaging for students that you now see on the website, on the AAA website. And they just redid their website. And if you look at their website, so much of the work we did utilizing AI tools ended up now as being the focal point or the key messaging that you see on their website. The next is AI search. What is AI search? Anybody? Or AEO? Scott, you want to? I'm putting you on the spot. What is? AEO? Well, yeah, AI search. A lot of people, there are different names for it.
Yeah, it's just the way that AI, differently than how Google catalogs and interacts with content online. And what makes it a little more critical is, contrary to Google, which gives you 1 million plus search results, AI is giving you one, right? You do a search and it goes, here's this, right? So it's immensely more valuable for you as an organization to have your information organized and cataloged on your website in such a format so that when you pop up in that answer to a question for your constituency, that you're the valuable resource that they turn to.
Yeah. How do you get to the top of AI search results, right? Obviously, organic, search results in Google are still of tremendous importance, but you want to appear in the AI summaries, right? In the AI commonly asked questions and what have you. So here are some very tangible ways of getting on AI's radar in search engine results. I can provide details on specifically what these mean and how these would be implemented, but these are certainly very important. For instance, Q&As. On our website, Rosica, rosica.com, you'll see in many areas of our website, we put Q&As or frequently asked questions on there. Why? Because AI loves it and is now directing people to those Q&As. It likes bulleted summaries. It loves summaries. It loves FAQs or Q&As. So now we're ranking in AI search results for a whole bunch of different things. And all of our nonprofit clients that we're working with to help boost this are experiencing the same things. So they're attracting funders. They're attracting key partners. They're attracting the stakeholders that they're looking for. They're influencing policymakers because they're appearing in AI results. So if a policymaker has a certain platform, something that they're really determined to achieve during their term in office, whatever that may be, and they go online to find a partner, it could be, certainly a nonprofit organization as part of their platform, and they do that search, you can appear top search results. Again, influencing those key stakeholders. So we've certainly improved our headlines, our calls to action on our website, and our clients' websites. We use AI to create blog articles for nonprofits regularly. Again, it's all about providing enough information so the article is going to be relevant. And we want to also ensure, of course, that it's completely unique content. We also cite sources. We say in our prompts, we say, only go to .gov.edu websites in order for all citations. Run them through these. Like, we don't want AI just going anywhere on the web. We direct it where to go. So anything that's on the web, that's a research paper or this or that, on a .gov or a .edu, it will just scour that information rather than, again, the complete universe of content that's out there. So the other thing is, of course, incorporating keywords and phrases that people are searching for. It's easy to determine the questions that people are, the things people are searching for in AI, because not only do you see at the very top of search the AI results, but if you scroll down, it'll show you 4 other things down at the bottom. People are also searching on AI for these questions. If you incorporate those questions into Q&As on your nonprofit's website, you can then start to rank for those things and then attract those stakeholders that I mentioned. So Bethany was in Authority magazine. It's Medium, it reaches millions of people. And we asked to turn this media placement, this interview with Bethany, into a blog article. We said generate a 900-word article for Bethany about the subject matter of the interview that she did and the article that appeared in Authority magazine. And we said, turn this into a thought leadership article for our website. And we want it to be AI searchable, and we wanted to appear, we really want to rank in organic, Google in organic search results as well. Not just AI results. Certainly, we took that media placement and repurposed it and created completely unique content and article that helps with search engine optimization. It helps with AI search. So these are the ways that you can repurpose and leverage content, and we call it integrated marketing communication. So for example, we have a theme, right? every nonprofit we work with, we encourage them to do their content marketing, their marketing communications in general, utilizing themes. So the theme for the month, maybe it's trauma-informed month. I don't know what month that is, but I'm sure there's a trauma, informed month. There's pretty much every other month. But make your focus for your social media, for your email marketing to key stakeholders, your PR, right? Get an op-ed piece about trauma-informed and what it means in workforce development, a bylined article for a trade publication, a speaking engagement at a conference. All these things are channels, but if you work on a thematic basis, thematic communications are key. You can then really leverage it. So then you can cross-purpose using AI. Take this article and turn it into 5 social posts, all unique content for these 5 channels. Take this video, do the same thing. So this is how integrated marketing communications works. And I mentioned all these things. You can turn media placements into newsletter content, right? Announcing that we were recently featured in Business Insider talking about X, Y, or Z, or the Chronicle of Philanthropy. Stakeholder interviews, if we're doing positioning and messaging, turn those into quotes turn those into website content. Of course, get the permission from those individuals where you're pulling the quotes. Thought leadership articles, you can turn those, again, especially if they're themed, into email campaigns. If you're doing an event and promoting an event, that event topic can align with the other activities that you're doing for the month. Your social media posts, the article that you're doing for your blog, your PR push that month to get earned media. Again, thematic content with the help of AI is definitely key. You can turn speaking engagements or the transcripts thereof. We're recording this session. We can use these transcripts to create blog articles. We're going to obviously use this for social content and do reels, Instagram, Facebook, etc. YouTube, it'll go on our YouTube channels. So we're talking about repurposing content, turning it into unique versions of that content, and using AI to help automate that and save tons of time doing it. So we said, can you please turn this article into an engaging LinkedIn post? And the article that Bethany was featured in, as I mentioned, Authority Magazine, and it turned it into a LinkedIn post that it saved time and it was spot on. I think we changed 2 words in it. That was it. 2 words needed to be changed. So it just saves a tremendous amount of time. It's kind of like having just an added staff member 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, and I would never have done that. So I just wouldn't have had the time or yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
All right. So again, I'm going to kind of fly through this because this is sort of all the stuff that we have said before. Just train your AI, even on things you don't think you need it on. I think it's incredibly helpful because it gets it smarter. AI detectors, I mean, obviously, if you're thinking about like ChatGPT, I don't know why they started putting the dashes in. They weren't there a year ago. Am I crazy? They weren't there a year ago, right? I knew it. They're terrible. So take them out because every funder knows. And then again, prompt it with as much as possible. So sometimes I laugh because I feel like I'm writing the whole email in the prompt, but I'm not worried about spelling. I'm not worried about grammar. I'm not worried about the ordering. I'm not worried about tone because it will do all of that for me. So it's really just a brain dump, which is a much faster way to write. So if you just say something like write an email asking people to donate, you're not going to get great outcomes. But if you talk about, and this is actually Chris's prompts, but I think they actually make sense. Who are we writing this to? Very specific. dates, urgencies. I love the without guilt. Really important to give it that tone. And then giving it a proof point. But you can also turn that around. And I was thinking about this, Chris, when you gave me this slide to do, and I thought, well, I might have actually done it differently and said, tell me a proof point. Tell me a proof point that proves what I'm attempting to accomplish in this letter. So the more that you give it in terms of the prompt, again, the more of that brain dump you do in terms of what you want it to do. And I think a lot of times the most important things that when I think about using AI is the tone words. Make it sound like, because those are things where, we all fell in love with our nonprofit for a reason. We work there for a reason. We believe in its mission for a reason, but that can also create blindness in terms of what and who you are. And so when you give it a chance to tell you, and we're going to do that in a moment, you're going to be surprised at what comes back to you, because for me, it was a real eye-opener. So again, making sure that you're always reading it. I never send out anything that was generated by AI until I read it, make sure that it makes sense, make sure that it is transparent, make sure that if it's giving me fake quotes from students, which it can do, or fake stories, I'm going to then take those and make sure I translate those into true things. So I do want to just say, and I had not heard what you talked about in terms of Gov and EDU. So if you ask it to search sites, and you say, like, for instance, I want to write a letter to donors that has data cited, give me formal citations, they can be made up. So make sure you're checking that link, because a lot of those links are broken, they don't work, or they don't exist at all. So I would check those. And I would, but I do always ask it for formal citations, no matter what, because I can then clip those into my search bar and immediately make sense that they're true. Okay, so again, I've been with Newbridge for 12 of its 15 years. I'm very close. We acquired Central School for Practical Nursing in 2024. It's actually the oldest nursing school in the state of Ohio. And it also has very grounded in its stories. So using AI to rethink and reframe messaging can be a way of surprising yourself. And I just want to look to see what's coming up next after this. Okay. All right. So if your organization, so if you have something open, put this in. If your AI knows you and knows your organization well, if your organization was a movie star, who would it be and why? I know you're thinking, why am I doing that? Because it actually tells you something about your organization. It tells you about how you're talking about yourself. So I'm going to ask you guys a question. Dunkin' Donuts. Everybody knows a Dunkin' Donuts. What movie star do you think it's going to give me?
Ben Affleck.
Ben Affleck. That's actually the second choice. Who else?
Yes, by the way, that was great.
But, right, everyman, right, sort of friendly, kind of a family guy.
Both started in Boston.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Anyone else? A guess? Dunkin' Donuts? Ben Affleck. Both are iconic. Dunkin' Donuts shows up for your real life, early mornings, commutes, long shifts. Boston, not flashy. Okay, so what about Boy and Girl Scouts of America? What movie star? I'm leaving. You guys just talk amongst yourselves and just let me know how your conference goes for you. Yes, Tom Hanks. You guys are no fun.
By the way, anyone who guesses, though, that gets that, has to see us afterward, and we're going to send you a thinking cap.
Right, exactly. So my
Color of your
organization, so Newbridge, again, healthcare, mostly women, mostly African-American women. You know what it became up as? Viola Davis. And I say, yes, thank you, please. Yeah. Right? I know, right? Like gritty comes from real humble beginnings, authentic voice, willing to be a fighter. I was like, okay, yeah, that's me. I like that. So again, if you don't like your response, then think about the language you're using to describe yourself. So who wants to share? Does anybody have one that came up that was cool?
I have Tom Hanks too.
Okay, so tell me a little bit about your organization.
So we're a community-based organization who works together to bring people in SAP space together, so people who work in tech. So we host different events each year and different local events to just help them learn about different technologies. So it said we were Tom Hanks because we're known for storytelling. We are trusted, consistent, and widely respected as a storyteller, which is two things.
Does that vibe with you?
It does.
Oh, I love that. Cool. Okay.
Mine was Morgan Freeman.
Oh, good voice, if nothing else. Okay. What is it? What do you do?
Actually, I work for Cuyahoga Metropolitan Housing Authority. I am in.
Hi.
Hello. Wait, I know Newbridge.
Oh.
Over there.
Have you referred people to us? Okay, good. And so you know what I say about us is true, right? Totally authentic. Okay, good. See, she knows. That's our little BS detector right here in the
I
audience.
actually am the coordinator specialist for our digital inclusion program, which is on the inside of CMHA. So yeah, it says long-standing and recognizable, and that's pretty true.
Gravitas, grounded. CMHA, so that's our housing authority. Really important organization in Cleveland, really well respected. Anyone else? Anyone else have something fun? Okay, hit it. We'll go, and then you're going to be our second. Okay. What do you do? What do you do?
So I'm a product manager at Quiller, which is the AI copywriting platform for nonprofits.
AI thinking about AI. Meta.
So it said would be Emma Stone because she's young, professional, witty, and good at making tough material.
Interesting. Okay. Does that jive for you?
It's pretty close, yeah.
Okay, I like it. Okay, what about yours?
I work for World Wildlife Fund.
Oh, awesome organization.
Yes, it's
Anyone who?
Sorry, World Wildlife Fund? And who did it say you were?
Just that we were going to see. Anyone
Oh,
want to
okay,
guess?
okay,
Anyone
got
want to
it.
guess?
Leonardo DiCaprio.
Oh. Not for his dating life, I assume.
They're doing loves 26-year-olds just like Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm just kidding. No, it's about Leonardo DiCaprio's advocacy for the planet and how he is recognized worldwide.
Lovely. I like it. We had one more hand in the back.
So I asked both ChatGPT and Copilot.
Okay.
ChatGPT thinks we're Tom Hanks because apparently thinks everyone. And
Well, we're all nice, warm, friendly people. That's why.
they authoritative, trusted. But Copilot said Meryl Streep or Denzel or Frances McDormand.
Meryl Streep was our second choice, so Newbridge. Cool.
Meryl Streep was the first choice.
Okay.
Okay, but I work for HIAS, which is the oldest refugee organization in the world. It's an international NGO. It's a Jewish organization, I should say, faith-based. I typed in the same question, and it gave me Viola Davis, Tom Hanks, Meryl Streep, and Frances McDormand, none of whom are Jewish, and all of whom are the other answers in this room.
So I would say to you, though, too, that part of it is it's picking up on language, right? It doesn't know you. It's not, well, no, I'm saying it doesn't know you, like, personally. It doesn't know, so it knows the organization through the language the organization uses. So I would correct it. So go in and say, no, we're a Jewish organization. That's a really important part of our identity. Pick again, and I want to see what it comes up with.
So I'll tell you, Rossica's was a different actor. Can you guess? My company. You remember.
I don't. I'm
You don't
old.
ring it, it'll ring. I'm old. Anybody guess? You don't know because you really haven't had them. You don't have the exposure. We are George Clooney.
Oh,
And it
right.
was for consistency. It was for confidence, consistency, steadiness under pressure, because we do crisis communications and all those things. Anyhow, that's what it gave
Interesting.
us. Yeah.
So I'm going to let her correct it. We'll come back because I want to see what it says. But Chris, you're on.
Yes.
So here's another question you can also ask, which is also a really good one if you're stuck on your grants.
So, a well-known.
wait, go back to the
I'm
question
sorry.
for just a second.
Sorry.
That's okay.
What? And this is the crux of what we do, right, in public relations. What truly differentiates our organization? How do we have a completely unique voice? Because so many nonprofits say compassion. We care for
But that's why we're all
this
Tom
particular
Hanks.
population.
But that's why we're all Tom Hanks,
Right.
and that's why because it's sort of sloppy
There's
writing.
a lot of similarities
Yep.
between the ways nonprofits describe themselves.
Yep.
So how do we stand apart? So this was what we asked for, and obviously you put your name in where it says organization there, and we asked it about the Red Cross. And, most people know about disaster relief, right? But this is really, what sets them apart. So, they're on the ground, obviously, during disasters. But what sets them apart? Massive volunteer network, ready to mobilize quickly. So the infrastructure is there when an emergency occurs or a natural disaster occurs. And the blood supply system. Most people don't realize that they manage the majority of the blood in the U.S. Some people may know that, but others, certainly may not.
So we train phlebotomists, and so I did not know anywhere near as much about the blood supply system piece of it until I got into that business. So I would say, I don't think they do a very good job of marketing themselves. Just saying. I think that there is messaging there that they are missing.
Yep.
Anyone have a really good one about what they came up with, that it was what you're renowned for?
What differentiates you? Has anyone put this prompt in?
Okay, let us know if it comes up. These are good questions. All right, what's your next one?
What might be confusing to a funder about putting your organization name, and how should we modify our messaging or our story to eliminate any misunderstanding? Another, I think, very strategic question. And you can also share this with the group too if you feel comfortable. And we have a few different organizations that we looked at. Yeah, of course. Of course.
Thank you.
Sure. And we had a few organizations that we asked about. The United Negro College Fund, Goodwill Industries, and the Salvation Army. Just because these can be misunderstood. Their missions are often misunderstood. So if we ask AI to help us identify where we're misunderstood and how we can address that disconnect, where the connection points are lacking, we can obviously influence communications moving forward to address some of those misunderstandings.
And all of these misunderstandings that it came up with are around names, but then my next prompt would be, we're not willing to change the name of our organization, so give us another suggestion. Because obviously you could change the name of any one of these organizations to make them more clear, but that would be my very next prompt. Not going to change the name. So, right, or not going to change whatever else because there are easy ways, but these are great organizations that have tremendous goodwill, no pun intended, around their mission, but also are misunderstood. So there's got to be another way to do that work.
So great point. Just say, hey, we're not willing to change our name, but how can we elevate or increase understanding around what we actually do, what our mission is, what we stand for, and the impact that we make. That type of a prompt.
All right, so Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Everybody knows the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? So I asked it this question. I said, does everybody know that they're doing like $100 million expansion? It's ridiculous. Well, it's ridiculous because that's money that that CMHA and Newbridge would like back in our community. Thank you very much. But I asked it a really simple question, and this is what we're going to sort of end on. So I said, what could it evolve into? And so I want you to consider who I am, my organization, and look at what it told me. And this is directly, I just cut and pasted. So it says, audio production workforce programs, workforce. Youth apprenticeships and event productions, we work with youth. Certification tracks. But also look at this next section. Music therapy research centers, public programs on mental health and resiliency through music, partnerships with hospitals, schools, or behavioral health programs. Now, if any one of you asks that question, it's going to come up with a different answer because it's going to pull on your organization. So it could have gone in a totally different direction, But I just wanted to use this as an example where I'm quite sure that's probably not what they're talking about in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's probably not the direction they're going. I kind of like these ideas. I think they're kind of good, but that's probably not where they're going. But that's one of the things that we have to recognize. It's true about AI, and it's also true about ourselves, right? That AI is in some very real way just a reflection of us and what we've put into it, us universally, right? Because it's the collective us, but the collective us also has its own challenges around its own narrow thinking. So as the collective us voice, we need to be able to, if we don't like what that collective voice is saying, we need to be putting information into AI to make AI better. It's our obligation, I think, because without that, that collective voice can be quite anonymous, and then we're just all Tom Hanks without his money, which seems like a terribly disappointing thing to be. So
here's the other reason we showed this example. If you're a nonprofit and you're looking to partner with a for-profit, and really, you know, for obviously for financial support, for volunteers, for storytelling opportunities, PR opportunities, marketing opportunities, etc. You want them to really promote you on their social channels, etc. Put something like this in for those partners that you really want to form partnerships with, and it'll show you the intersection of kind of what you stand for based on the prompts you've given AI and what they represent and stand for with their companies, and you will find some great ideas that you can then recommend to them in regard to, say, creating programs that are unique and will help the community and that will enable both organizations to heighten their profiles. Your nonprofit and their for-profit organization. So these things right here, if Bethany wanted to partner with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, she could go and recommend some of those programs to that institution, and you know, it could work, right? It might just be something that clicks for them. So the last thing I'll say is we talked about using AI for research. But when you're talking about forming partnerships, have AI help you extract as much information as possible from their website, their social media platforms, any white papers they've done, any articles they've been featured in. Have AI give you a high-level summary. Say, please, I want you to research their social profiles, their website, any media coverage they've gotten, and I want you to give back to me 5 ways we could potentially create a partnership or a program that can help their organization and ours achieve our goals. And you'll come back with at least one good idea, or an idea that you can do the brain chain with. Everyone remember the brain chain? Start with the idea, pass it around the circle, and everybody improves, either adds to it or takes away to make it a better idea, a more executable idea. So you take AI's initial response and then you make it better with people. Any questions for us before we let you all go? There has to be a question. Yes?
Well, I came in late, so maybe I missed something, but I just want to know if there's any consideration for the specific AI tools that you recommend or use in light of ethics, or does that come into your own consideration?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's some great charts on LinkedIn that I've seen that actually talk about how they're all different and then what they are particularly good at. So my coworker really likes Canva. I use ChatGPT only because I refuse to change. Technology is moving so fast. I figure by the time I'm bored with it, there'll be something else out there. So I think my point would be this: pick whatever you're really comfortable with, pick what you're going to go back to, and pick what hasn't been disappointing to you so that you stick to it, so that it learns who you are.
Also, I would say seek out content creators, whether it's Seth Godin or whoever it is that you trust, right? Influencers that you trust. and look at analyses done by organizations that you respect, and look at those charts that are the pros and cons that are available online and that are available through blogs and other content creators and influencers, and you'll see maybe what tool is best for you given the purpose of how you're going to be utilizing it. Yes.
I think what they might be referring to is that ChatGPT, the Pentagon recently had a big dispute with Anthropic because they wanted them to have autonomous killing ability and the ability to conduct mass surveillance. And so many people have, and so Anthropic refused to do that, and now the Pentagon is trying to kill the company, which makes Claude AI. So many people have canceled their ChatGPT because ChatGPT stepped in and said, yeah, we'll kill people autonomously, no problem.
Yeah.
So a lot of people have canceled their ChatGPT and are working.
Got it.
And I like Claude too. I mean, Claude's great.
Thinking too also is just the idea that I think nonprofits need to en masse, like move away from big tech, own their own AI production, own their own training, and that ethics goes deeper basically than, well, just like decide whatever tool you want to use and that's fine.
Well,
Yeah, good point. Because there are certainly major ethical considerations, and you have to be. You don't want to support a company that's obviously its intentions are not first of all visible, right? If they're masking things, and if they're not aligned with your organization and its mission or its values.
so I have a question back to you though. So I like what you're saying. I think that's fair. How do you then see that working to make sure that it doesn't become too insular, so that it's still recognizing and understanding that a lot of the philanthropists who have the most money don't speak that language, don't live in that community?
Can you rephrase that?
Can I?
Can you rephrase that?
Yeah, so I'm just thinking so a lot of the people that I'm talking to don't live in my world, right? They don't know my population, they don't know my community. And so one of the things I'm just asking is, how do we work within our own community to elevate our language while still recognizing that it has to be resonant with the people who have power and money, which are often not the people who would live in that universe?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's a good question. I know that there are open source models that let you see the code that goes into them. There are models that you can control how they're weighted and trained. And, more or less kind of like you're alluding to, that you can make something that's tailor-made to your organization and feed it the context that is necessary. But I actually think that feeding the context of all of the organizations, all these other organizations, in the long run is only actually going to empower the big
Yeah.
tech companies
Yeah.
to disenfranchise us.
Yeah,
I'm just making that point just to be to me, ethical AI, the direction that we should be heading is nonprofits owning their own AI, having AI in-house, understanding what it means to have an algorithm that's specifically tailor-made and trained, so on and so forth.
I would totally come to see you next year.
No,
I think that
it's
I'm
a
not
great
joking.
point.
I think it's a great point, and it's like, I mean, and it's sort of over my head, right? So I kind of right now, right? We are thinking about tools evolves, right, over time. So right now, I'm kind of grounded in this idea of how do I make my language better, right? It's very selfish. It's very internally focused of sort of saying, I want to make sure that this message gets out. I had a situation, I was driving here from Cleveland and it took me 4.5 hours to get here. Why would that be? Because I was sitting at a rest stop having a talk for 1 hour and 45 minutes with a funder who I had sent a PowerPoint to, who basically said to me, I don't understand anything about this. And I was like, well, but what don't you understand? And basically it was I understand nothing. So I got here and I had to throw away the PowerPoint and start all over again. So I was taking what he was telling me and I was feeding it in to AI to say, okay, I don't understand him. I mean, I thought I was as clear as day, but obviously I wasn't. And so that's a really selfish use. What you're talking about is a much bigger collective goal, and I think it's beautiful, and I think it's super important, and I'm coming to see you next year.
Yeah.
I love that.
And please, our business cards are up here. Let us know if you have any other questions after the conference. And we're here to serve you. So thank you.
Thank you for that. You really made me think. Thank you.